In no time, Kojo was tired of me and asked that I leave. I couldn't have missed this. Just to be sure he is responsible for the well-separated and neatly arranged waste, I went back after 2 weeks, hoping he'll be in a good mood to grant me a better interview. Accra generates 2,500 metric tons of solid waste daily. It is estimated that in the next 10 years, daily waste generation would reach 9,125,000 metric tons.
Burning of waste substances, the smoke gets into the upper atmosphere and depletes the ozone layer. So this causes direct sun rays from the sky straight onto the atmosphere.
I'll gather my friends and we'll come around, then we'll try to clear the place. Then we'll also educate people on the effects of dumping the electronic substance around.
The dumping of refuse here leads to breeding of mosquitoes and other parasites and vectors, so it leads to contraction of so many diseases such as malaria, cholera.
Every nice-looking community has a smelly corner. Our concept of polish on dirt makes it look good, but we can't hide it from the rains. My colleague Matilda Kweku was caught up in the rain recently.
The news team had to make a stop on its way to an assignment simply because the road had become unsafe. As we made our way towards the Kwame Nkrumah Circle from Asylum down, we realized the road was flooded and littered with debris from the main storm drain. This is Asylum down where the old Iran clinic used to be. It's been raining for just a few minutes, but as you can see, the whole place is choked with water. The rubbish from the big gutter over there has drifted all to the streets, and the cars here, they had to stop. If your car is not big, you risk being drowned. So even all the vehicles that were going straight had to turn back to take another turn somewhere. It's very, very dangerous here. All the houses here are filled with water. Residents had to move out to avoid being swept away, and it had been raining heavily for just about 30 minutes at a time.
So right now we don't get the place where we go. Don't worry about the thing we are doing. Material is spoiled. So tell the government to say make it help us. We be young boys. See our kiosk, hustlers, see what can see our shop. Make the things where we do where we take the job.
The rains also exposed filth in other parts of the capital. As pedestrians found shelters to protect themselves from the downpour, this beggar was left without a choice as he sat sadly in the rain.
Menya baby aton ade kakra ena mede abai baby ame we nso kra ehwo nye ye pa ban chew se o mehwe yen e wo malata
insunuta mo ana efi bole ne mu no wo ha yen wo niama no tom biem obi kura nam na obi hu a o se nia mo ani fi niama no nso na entesa o mo firi bole ne mu insuta ye ho kire ye ni baby a ye gina kora atachene musa ye hiamwa
enioma no se wokoto a ebi ade no pese wo beto bet se na nsuo no e fa enioma na ne se na atache na ade ne wo ho no ebi a ne bi awugugu enchenchen na ade no na enye fe enti onipa na mini so beto ade ko hwe environment na no pese wo to ade no na amana ede atene no okọ enti yan hawo kase potin a hawo yan ogwemu wo be hwe enchen na ade a se na wo yi gwatemu ne na ma ekoso no to be frank enyefe
ana mbe onse no ma no guwo se ana mi bisa me won se na nti o ma tiska kwato ne o ma na ne o ma gugu form se mi be hu ni se ya na mi hu tete me aya me se mento aya me se ma mento e bi se ne se na de tete enya makono nti asira ba mo a o ma bo amalata kakra amalata nye.
As bad as this may look, experts believe we are not in a hopeless situation.
A lot of investors have come in, and we think this year we have this Conti project, which is looking at coming up with an engineered landfill site. And if we talk about engineered landfill site, then there is going to be waste segregation, and then waste separation at source, and all that is a component. So that is the way forward, as I've mentioned. So there are plans to move into that. In fact, for whatever case, we should still have a final disposal site. You cannot, separate all waste or recycle all waste. It is only the necessary waste, like the plastic that is a menace in the country, the paper, which could be recycled, the metals, as I said, is going. The organic waste, you have the compost plant by Zoom Lion at Hajen Kotuku, which is ongoing. So we are not actually in a useless situation at all. I think we are moving towards, waste, a strategic plan to recycle waste or say that waste is not waste but a resource material. With action plans or plans that the AME has, I think the next 5 years we should be recycling or processing a lot of the organic waste, which is 65% of our, our waste stream. For all the waste we generate, the organic waste is 65%. Plastic is 6%. Paper is also 6%. The metals is about 3.1%. And I think glass is 2.1%. Textile is about also 2.1%. Net is about 15%. That is soil. Because most of our homes are not paved, and so we sweep a lot of soil into our waste stream.
This is an issue the sector is very much concerned. I mean, the water and sanitation sector, in the sense that we all agree that we are off track the target, meaning we are not near where we want to be. The target is 54% by 2015, a year to go, and we are now at 15% of our population accessing what you call an improved toilet or latrine facility. So with respect to the MDG target for sanitation, we are nowhere near target. And in fact, the rate at which we are moving, it will take us about 40 years to get to the target, because we are moving at 1% coverage per annum. So it will take us additional 40 years to reach the target of 54% at the rate that we are going. What are we not doing right? I think it's a basket of issues that we have to deal with. One is in the area of investment when it comes to putting money into some of the things that we want to do, or some of the things that we are. Interestingly, we have all the policies and the strategies and whatever you think of in terms of creating the necessary environment for takeoff of our sanitation projects. But the other side, in terms of investment that we need, in terms of attitudinal change that we require, are not moving well for us. For instance, we have on average, about 20% of our population doing what we call open defecation. And we're talking about almost 5 million people every day defecating in the open. And it's not in Greater Accra, it's not in Accra alone. If you go to the district, if you go to their communities, they are happening there. This is a attitudinal issue. And in respect of the fact that we need more education, law enforcement, because there are laws which prohibit or ban defecating in the open. We are not enforcing the laws. One of the issues that has actually come out with respect to enforcement of the law is that where the environmental health staff or the professionals are doing their work, we're also seeing an interference from the people in the higher places. For instance, somebody is arrested for defecating in the open or for throwing refuse into a gutter. The next step for the environmental health people is to prosecute, prepare that person for court. Then in that process, you get a call from a boss or a big person somewhere that is my nephew, or this man has called that, and therefore the person can move forward. And Ghanaian asks, that is where the person's bread and butter is coming from. So if he doesn't listen to the boss and he's sacked the following day, what is going to happen? So these are some of the issues that are coming out, and therefore we don't give the people who are enforcing the law the needed motivation, the incentive to be able to enforce the law. Because if the person's job is on the line for prosecuting somebody who is doing wrong, then I'm afraid if I were to be in that position, I'll also probably go down that action. So if you have some of this interference coming in, then there's no way forward for us to move forward. The other side is also at the household, the individual houses. We go and rent houses without latrine facilities, without toilet facilities. Then in the morning, in the evening, excuse me to use my, you pull in a polythene bag and you go and throw it away, or you go in a queue in a public latrine for about 10, 15 minutes. Then when you come, you will need to take your bath before you go to the public. You are renting the house. Why don't you talk to the landlord, landlady? Because it's a requirement under AMA bylaws that every house you have a latrine facility. So as a citizen, it's your right to have access to that facility. More so, you are paying rent. It should be part of your rent. So if the citizen, because if they ask, if they demand, the landlord may throw them out. And given the accommodation situation in places like Accra, people are... But you see, that's where we sacrifice our rights to do the wrong thing. This is something that we have to insist on and demand, that is my right. And I think wherever they take you, whether to court or those things, I think you have a case to prove. But we don't do that, yet we go to public latrines and queue. We call it public latrines, but it is not meant for those of us in that neighborhood. It is meant for visitors, the transient population, those who are visiting that place and therefore don't have a house or a place that they can quickly go. That is meant for them. But we have turned all these public latrines into household latrines. That is why they are not functioning, because they have a capacity. If in a day it's supposed to take 100 people, that house has been designed for. So if it's built in a residential area and 200 people are using it a day, definitely it will become nuisance, because that's not the design capacity. That is not why the public latrines are meant for. So these are some of the things that is going on. In terms of investment, if you look at the budgetary allocations, even the one for the Environmental Health Directorate to do their work is not even there. And when we have even budgeted for releases of government money to facilitate the work of the government agency, it's also becoming a challenge. So these are the issues that we have with respect to our sanitation. And the other dimension I want to add, technically it is the responsibility of the district assemblies to make provision or to ensure that latrine facilities are available. But we are not seeing that leadership from the district assemblies. They are more, we see them more interested in the solid waste side, in terms of what we traditionally call boiler side, not to putting in facilities or ensuring that the houses have facilities that people are using. And what is even amazing, let your colleagues go to the district capital, the regional capital, what you call the big towns, and see where we are dumping feces. We are collecting them, even those of you who say you are using WC and the well-engineered latrine facilities. They are picking them and dumping them into the bushes and into the sea. So at the end of the day, the number for open defecation is actually more than the 20% or so that we're talking about, because at the end of the day, we are collecting from the houses and dumping them into the bushes, which become the bigger open defecation. And until and unless the district assemblies take the leadership in dealing with this situation, we will not go.
Over the years, Ghana has been struggling with the waste menace in the streets, in gutters, and even at our market centers. This has brought to question how unwholesome the food we eat is, and how Ghana as a nation can meet the Millennium Development Goal on sanitation. Can we start separating waste from home? From Kojo, we realize waste separation is no rocket science.
Refuse disposal is also a challenge in terms of collecting, in terms of transporting, in terms of dumping, and the site where it has to be dumped. And these are all investment issues. It's an investment for the government to build the dumping site, what we call an engineered site, to manage and treat the waste that we bring. So it's a whole value chain and a stream process. For those of us in our household where we generate this waste, that's our first port of call, how we do and manage this waste. We go and we clean our homes. I mean, Ghanaians, we are very religious, are doing that every morning. And the next step, you throw it behind your walls or your colleagues' wall, or dump it into the gutter. I mean, attitudinal issues come in here. And at times, people we have to educate. I don't think it's an issue of education. We all know. Who doesn't know it's bad to throw waste into a gutter? It's an issue of mindset. I mean, when he or she does it, nobody will take him or her to task. So then the option of you don't have facilities where they will dump it and those things. You are living in a community. Some of the things you can even dig and bury them. But we choose to throw them. And interestingly, when we put them outside there and we are coming to our house, we walk through them and bring them back to our house. So we are not doing anything. Then the collection rates is actually less than what we are generating. So there is always more on the street because we don't have the services are not enough. Even where the services are, we are not paying them at the right time. And therefore, whenever we renegade on payment by the district assemblies, the services can also not continue because they also have to have access to the resources to be able to operate. And when they have said we don't have the site where they are treated. It is last 2 years that Zoom Lion brought this Ajenkotogu, which is working. Can we have such facilities? It requires for investment. What is the government doing in that area? And that is where the government may say the private sector, fine, if the private sector, let's do whatever we can to bring in the private sector to do that work. We are aware that there is a project ongoing in Kumasi area where they are trying to do some of these things. But we're also worried about the fact that some of the facilities that we have even put in place, we are not managing them well. We have a facility in Kumasi, Kumasi and Tamale, which is supposed to manage some of these wastes. But when you go there at times, the operation of the system needs much to be desired. So if you are going to have investment into these projects and managing and operating it will become a problem, then it's as well for us to stop investing it. Another dimension, because we don't have this facility, that when you go to places and you have the dumps, the refuse dams, the huge refuse dams, we used to have it at Oblojo, now at Chimota area. And the problem with those sites, apart from the flies and those things and the stench and those things, is when it rains, or even it doesn't rain, there are leaches, some blackish water that streams out of this place. It's as dangerous as anything that you can think of. And when it rains, where do they go? They come into our water bodies. So these are the things. It's a multi-purpose, multi-challenge that as a sector, as a government, we have to seriously look at it. But the ordinary attitude of, projects are in pipeline, it won't work because we've seen the project still in the pipeline and they have not come out of the pipeline until we take serious action. Because when you even look at the budgetary allocations, it's not enough resources are being allocated to the sector, and where resources has been allocated, releases of government fund to implement the project is also another dimension. I mean, for instance, if you look at analyze the budget, you see that not much releases was done, even for the sector agencies to facilitate their project, their activities. And when you have such challenges, it becomes difficult for these people to actually do their work.
In this rain. Oh, so one way Jinam the door.
Waste separation in Ghana is on a small scale. we have started to realize that some waste is necessary, and I will mention the metals as one waste category that has value, and for that matter, people are separating it as source. And I think about 90% of metal waste is being separated. But the other waste like organic waste, paper, plastics, glass, textile, rags, and maybe inert sand, because we sweep a lot of soil during our sweepings. So waste separation, I would say, is on a small scale in this country. But for metals, because of the value we have for it, and for that matter, it's being separated. Yeah, the challenge has been that we have not put value on our waste. You say it. It is when you have value for the waste, that is, we have market for even the product that is going to come out of maybe reusing the waste or recycling the waste. If there is no value for it, just discard it, you throw it away because it's useless to you. You see it, but you have to look deeper into waste and say that waste is not waste, but it's a resource material. That is, it could be used as a raw material to produce another product. And that is when you have to separate it. But as a country, we think waste is useless because we do not even have the resources, the machines to, recycle that waste into other products for us to use or to buy.
The Millennium Development Goal, MDG 7, seeks to guarantee environmental sustainability through improving access to safe water supply and sanitation. It also seeks to reduce the ratio of population without access to basic water supply and sanitation by 50% in the year 2015 and 75% by the year 2025. As captured by the policy document, environmental sanitation powerfully demonstrates the linkages between all the 8 MDGs and their related targets. Sustained progress in any target will depend on sustaining improvements in environmental sanitation. Sadly, Ghana is falling behind. We know what the ideal sanitation should be, and we have all the ideas. So, what is preventing us from meeting MDG Goal 7 on sanitation?
Individuals, everything starts with us. We, the individuals in our homes. And some of these things, we think we have to be given 3 separate bins and be educated on. We can start with sacks. Sacks, not bins, because the bins will be expensive. We can start with sacks. Educate people, put bottles here, put plastics here, put organic materials in these. 3 sacks. And so far as, but if we want to do that, if we are doing that, then also the collection mechanism also has to be strong. And therefore, when it is full, at a point in time, the service providers will go and collect them. So it's a whole chain. And as I said, some of these things, we don't need the sophisticated technology and the things that will see the advanced countries having. If we have them, let's go for it. If we have the resources to go for them, let's go for it. But we can also start with simple things at the household level. I said sacks. Sacks are easy. You can put bottles, plastics into simple stacks for collection to be made. It will mean that all downstream activities like the facilities and all those things will also be designed to accommodate all these things that we want to do from the upstream. In the area of latrine like this, we have biogas, biofuel, biogas system. In fact, the new presidential house, the Flagstaff House, has a biogas system. If that facility is using a biogas system, why can't you recommend it? Why can't you recommend it? Why can't the president himself recommend it to those who are building new houses, the newly gated communities, so that we start using them instead of building septic tanks. You have 5 houses with separate septic tanks. At the end of the day, it means you have to go around and pick all these septic tanks. Can we connect 5? Another area we can also look at is a decentralized system where 10, 15 houses are connected to one sewage system, so that the issue of one house having one septic system will do away with that. It make collection easier, make management easier. And we introduce this biogas system where at the end of the day, I mean, those who are experts in it will tell us that even the gas could be collected and could be used for domestic cooking and other things. So these are the dimensions. Interestingly, we have all this in our policies and strategies. The will and the resources to implement them is what we are lacking. So we have to, as a nation, as a government, and we always say government, not because we want the government to put all the resources. We want the government to take the lead, because whoever comes behind it is to support whatever the government is doing. If the development partners are coming, they want to see, they cannot take the lead because it's not their country. So they want the government, the leaders, to take the leadership in the area of sanitation, and they will be willing to support us in that dimension. So we have all these projects, we have all these, outlined in our strategies. As I said, we have beautiful strategies. When you go for some of these conferences, they look at your paper, Ghana's strategy, and it's like by the next 10 minutes, it's finished. But when you present the statistics and you tell them we are 15%, then people say, wow. So what have you been doing with your strategies and your policies? So these are the dimensions that we find ourselves in, and it's not helping us.
Yeah, the ideal situation is that looking at getting land for even disposing of the waste, the ideal situation is that we should reuse our waste, because some professionals are saying even that waste is material in transition. It is material that should always be in the system and not to be disposed of or buried anywhere. It should be part of the system so that we don't pollute the soil, we don't pollute air, we don't pollute water. You say it. And then also public health, disease. You don't create disease. So when you are able to say waste is necessary, then you have to recycle it. You have to put it at the right place so that it will not attract disease germs, or it will not pollute soil, it will not pollute water, and then the soil. Accra, I will mention Accra. For Accra, the current situation is that we are generating close to 2,500 tons of solid waste per day. And with our contractors, Zoomlion and other companies, we are able to collect almost averagely 2,200 tons per day. And you realize that there is some amount of uncollected waste, and that is about 300 tons, and it's a lot, And this is waste that is not delivered to us, or is not made available to us as spelled out in our solid and liquid waste bylaws. Because if you generate waste, it becomes the property of the assembly. So your responsibility is to register with a company and make it available for collection and disposal. But the moment you discard it or you divert that waste onto the streets by littering, or you end up putting it in the drains or at the beach, then you are diverting the waste from where the assembly could capture it for disposal. You say it. So the ideal situation is that we should store the waste as an individual. You store the waste in a bin and then give it to the assembly to manage for you. Because the management is about collecting it, transporting it, treating it if necessary, that is recycling it, or you just go and bury. And I would say we are burying almost 90% of the waste that we are collecting. Treatment is on a small scale. As I've mentioned, there is no recycling, there is no serious reuse or waste to energy or whatever. We are yet to move into that. as a country. We have to now move into seeing to it that waste is not waste but a resource, and then we try to get investors as a country, and then we recycle this waste. But the problem has been with getting the machines, the machines to do this work. It has been recommended over the years that we want to go into waste to energy, we want to recycle our waste and all that. A lot has been said about that. But then I think in a few years' time we're going to achieve that strategy of saying that waste is not waste but a resource material, and that should be tapped.
Drive through any major streets in Accra, visit the markets, lorry station and beaches. Filth will greet you from all angles. After all interventions, nothing seems to work, except for this man's strategy. Almost every other month, there are reports that Accra could soon be hit by a major waste management crisis following the Environmental Protection Agency's intentions to ban dumping at major landfill sites, or that dumping sites are full to capacity. For this reason, in almost every area that has a landfill site in Accra, people have been up in arms against the idea at one point in time. Don't get the wrong picture. Sanitation challenges are not only in Accra. The 2013 Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey puts Ghana's open defecation rates at 23%, while recording improved sanitation covered for urban Ghana at 21%, with rural Ghana at 9.0%. In terms of regional distribution for open defecation, Greater Accra and Ashanti regions scored 9 and 10% respectively, while the Upper East, Upper West and Northern regions have an open defecation rate of 89%, 72% and 71% respectively. According to a desk report carried out by the Water and Sanitation Program in 2012, poor sanitation costs Ghana 420 million cedis every year. Of the 1,500 waste generated daily, just an average of 1,200 tons gets collected. The rest find its way into the drainage systems and other open spaces. According to the World Bank Economic Impact of Poor Sanitation in Africa Report 2012, 16 million Ghanaians use dirty or shared latrine, 4.8 million don't have latrines at all and defecate in the open. Open defecation costs Ghana $79 million a year, while eliminating the practice would require less than 1 million latrines to be built and used. Even if we are not motivated to meet the Millennium Development Goal on sanitation by 2015, let's do it for ourselves as a people. Let's move things from the paper and drawing board. Let's stop talking and act. Prosecute if need be. Just let the laws and paperwork work. Let's start small. Waste management is not rocket